What is up, everybody? I'm NoLucksGiven, and today we are going to be taking a look at a Celestial Tiger game. And there's been a lot of Celestial Tiger on the channel recently. I do think that it is quite good in this patch, but I also just think it is such a fun hero to play because there's so many interesting and sweet things that you can do with it. And in this game, I think I'm going to be doing something that I haven't done in any of my other previous Celestial Tiger games. So definitely wanted to show this one off. This is a pretty clear lock here for Sherwood Shoreshot and Lonely Prince. There is an interesting question of like which one do you buy first, because if you buy the Lonely Prince this turn, then you could find another Lonely Prince in the shop next turn, and just buying one Shoreshot would be able to then flip both of them. I go for the one that's stronger for this combat, but it did not wind up mattering, and we actually get a second Sherwood Shoreshot, so I'm definitely going to want to pick that up as well, because we're playing Celestial Tiger. And one thing that I should have done here is bought and sold the Minotaur. That would have just opened up one extra spot in this shop, which potentially could have helped us find more Shoreshots and more Frog Princes or whatever pairs. We could have got a pair of Greedies or not Greedies, Crafties, or even a pair of like Mad Mims or something, like any pair you are excited about on Celestial Tiger. So should have, I mean, it's not like a Minotaur couldn't show up in the shop now, you know? So it's not like totally wrong if I do think that there is a chance that I'd like the Minotaur in the future or something. Like what if we rolled a Minotaur as one of those extra units there, but we're going to wind up casting the free roll instead of picking up any of those. And we roll into a shop with the remaining two friendly or lonely princes and the remaining Sherwood Shoreshot. So pretty crazy shop here. We are definitely locking into this one. The only question is, what do we pick up right now? And I'm going to go for the Shoreshot just because I want to grab a treasure right now in Celestial Tiger. If we could find a locked chest just one turn earlier, that could be really, really good. But we wind up getting Book of Heroes. And that's going to be what this video is all about. Book of Heroes on 2.2, doubled with Celestial Tiger. Turns out that is pretty good, and we're going to get one Book of Heroes trigger this turn, then we're going to take a little bit of damage, but you can see now we've got a 7/9, plus we get to pick up two more Frog Princes if we want. We could also wait and pick up a Vampire here. The Shard of the Ice Queen, I think, is really, really interesting. A little bit of lag in this game, too, by the way. But Shard of the Ice Queen, I think, is typically pretty good. But honestly, all of these... So let's talk about Shard of the Ice Queen here for a second. There's a lot to unpack in this shop. But Shard of the Ice Queen is pretty good. But I think we have, like, the two best good units. Like, these two are typically really tough to justify in terms of sharding, because you're probably going to get a worse unit. And then we also have the Book of Heroes, so I'm definitely going to want to hang on to these units. Jack's Jumping Beans is a really good early treasure on Celestial Tiger. It definitely represents the most stats on the board overall, getting to give both of our units +4/+4, compared to the Shepherd Sling, which gets to give both of our units +2/+2. That said, I do think the Shepherd Sling is overall going to be more power in general, but you don't want to rule out the Crown of Atlas here either, because that's also going to be giving the Frog Prince, which is now an animal, +2/+2, plus it's going to make your other evil animals or neutral animals into good animals, which then means that they also work with the Book of Heroes. So definitely an interesting decision on this one. Let me know what you would take down in the comments below. I think that the Book of Heroes is quite an obvious first treasure pickup, but for that second treasure, I could really see that going either way. And like right here, we'd be able to pick up the Pollywoggle and give the Pollywoggle +2/+2 and good still. And it would still be buffing up the Unicorn, so that would be fine. But it wouldn't be buffing up the Baby Root and the Humpty Dumpty. Though we could also just take the Jumping Bean as well, and that still represents more stats until we get 4 units out on the battlefield, which next turn we will have more than 4 units, so the sling will be doing more for us. But you can see our frog survived with 1 HP there and dealt some extra damage to Drac. I do definitely think that I want to be as strong as I can be, both for a few reasons, right? One, I want to be able to bully up the lobby a little bit. I think there's some definite power in that. By the way, I locked this shop too. Another really interesting choice. One of the reasons I locked it is because of how well my board synergizes with the unicorn and then also this Humpty Dumpty. I think that the Humpty Dumpty is a pretty... I'm always looking to make Celestial Tiger Easter egg work, and we have so much initial power on this board that our early units are not going to be dying, that picking up a Humpty Dumpty, it's definitely not going to be dying in this combat. Maybe I'll be able to get a few more and try to make a triple out of that one. I'm even so confident that my Humpty is going to survive that I am not going to attack with it last. I'm going to use the Baby Root to keep supporting the Frog Prince, even though that doesn't really matter because it only depletes their max health, not their current health. So for that reason, honestly, should have just had the layout like I had originally there. One thing that I wanted to say, though, too, now that you've weighed in the comments in terms of how you would, or what you would pick for your second treasure, one of the reasons, and we get a bunch of extra gold from this Peter Pants, that's really sweet. One of the reasons that I really did like picking up the Shepherd's Sling is because that's just going to make it slightly easier for us to get those kills with our good units, and thus that is going to make it easier that we are getting our good book triggers. So that is, I think, quite important. It's obviously random whether or not our opponents are playing evil units, but hopefully they are so that we can continue to scale. And this is a really interesting shop, I think, too, but I do really like Cindy because we're playing Celestial Tiger. There are still good Tier 2 treasures that we can pick up, and then I'll go for the Eeny Meeny and I'll pick up both of the other good units because they complement our board so well. And I am just trying to be as strong as possible for as long as I possibly can. Do also want to try to find some Humpty Dumptys so that we can kind of snowball in other additional ways, but really not different ways, just more. Snowball even more. While we are so ahead in this early game, I think that that is a strong option just to get an additional +1/+1 on anything that survives, because so much of our units are surviving all of these combats already. Like we got a 1624 that just got +2/+4 after attacking. Our units are just absolutely massive here, and this undefeated Merlin is going to try to style on us with a Wish Upon a Star, but it is going to be futile. We are going to be able to get a kill onto Mad Mim, or a slay onto Mad Mim. I'll probably just use the terminology slay here. You guys will know what I mean. I'm talking about that Book of Heroes, but we deny them the extra XP, and a pair of Spellweavers is interesting, but certainly doesn't go along with what we've already got going. Though we could go like Spellweaver, Blessing, or we could just go for the Blessing. But Court Wizard, this is what we were looking for. Court Wizard plus Book of Heroes, that is just an insane combo. And if you look at which of our units are already princes and princesses, it's a pretty good number. So this Court Wizard can hopefully get out of hand really quickly. We do have an option here to probably sell the Humpty Dumpty or the Baby Root or maybe the Unicorn to pick up this Stone Skin, just to give a little bit of extra protection to our Court Wizard. Main reason I do that too is to, it's tough to say. I think that the main reason that I did that is because of Cinderella, and I'm playing the Cinderella now because it is a princess, so it will trigger the Court Wizard. And I think I'm just checking out everybody's comps and names and stuff there. But we want to give this Court Wizard as many bonus attacks as possible. So giving it a little bit of extra survivability is good. But then I also want to get Tier 2 treasures because we're still Celestial Tiger. And there is a lot of power that can still be gained from some Tier 2s. My opponent this time only has one evil unit, So we are really hoping to be able to attack that potentially with the Court Wizard, and it looks like that's going to be a 50-50. The Court Wizard lands there. Nice. So Court Wizard gets the bonus from the Book of Heroes, and the more we can do that, the more easily we can win all of these. And I do think I'm going to want Juliet in my final comp. Doesn't seem that good right now. We don't have Romeo. But I think I still want it. I think I'd still play it over Cinderella, so I am going to pick up this Juliet here, and then we'll move Princess Peep over into slot 4. One more spell activates Cinderella, so would love to grab any spell, and I guess I'll take a Fireball. That gives us a tier 2 treasure. Could also sell the Golden Chicken for the Sherwood Sure Shot, or just like the Unicorn for the Sherwood Sure Shot or something, but then we see 3 pretty decent options: Piggy Bank, Ring of Regen, and Spinning Wheel. I think this has got to be a Spinning Wheel game. We already have 35 health, so we don't need the Ring of Regen, and the Piggy Bank is good, but the most powerful things for this comp that we're currently playing are on tier 4. So we don't need to save our gold to buy anything big on tier 5. We're really just looking for Court Wizards, Arthurs, Juliets, Romeos, some additional tier 3 units, like we'll take more Princess Peeps or more Good Witches to try to find doubled up tier 3 treasures because we're Celestial Tiger. We get a Fireball and take out one of my opponent's Court Wizards, and this is going to be a whiz off, but we just have so much more power than my opponent on this one, so this isn't going to be super close. Fortunately, we're not going to be getting any scaling out of this one because we do not have any... my opponent doesn't have any evil units. They do have a treasure map, which we would love to have as a Celestial Tiger, so that is one of the huge reasons that I'm picking up this Good Witch right now, is we'd like to find really just treasure map, but it's so powerful that if we can find it, we would really appreciate doing so. I do want to play Prince Arthur, especially if we can triple it. Right now, it's pumping up the Sherwood Sure Shot and the Frog Prince. It also pumps up Cindy. I guess I do cut Princess Peep for it, but I think I might wind up cutting the Cindy for the Princess Peep. Main reason being they're really close in stats, but one triggers off Good Book, and I think that that is just going to make it worthwhile in terms of having the good unit in play rather than the neutral princess. And we are on tier 5 next turn, so people are going to start to get a little bit more powerful. But I think we're doing pretty good for right now. Like, if we can really find somebody... Unfortunately, we didn't get to scale Court Wizard at all last fight, but if we get to start scaling Court Wizard into the late game, then things start to look pretty decent here. Play around with potentially putting Good Witch in. I could definitely see it going either way. The benefit of putting it in is that you get to pump up the sheep token from Princess Peep as well. So you get a little bit more value there, but I think I just want to run all of the princesses into princes that I can, so hopefully Court Wizard can get a trigger, but all that we're going to wind up doing is feeding my opponent's Nutcracker, unfortunately. We could get a trigger here, nope, but then we do get it on the actual attack from when we attack into the Black Cat. So eventually we will get through this Nutcracker, but my opponent just has a massive Nutcracker with the Haunted Helm in the front, and Court Wizard does get to clean it up a little bit too, and ends the fight with 2 more Book of Heroes triggers. So Court Wizard up to 10-18, and it's getting quite large. You can see this is the patch where Pumpkin King was on 5, so I go for a Mask Ball here just to try to get an interesting tier 6 unit, and Robin Hood's pretty interesting. It's not a prince or princess. If I cut Sherwood Sure Shot for it right now, it will land on... I guess if I cut Princess Peep for it, it will land on that. Let's definitely grab this, grab a tier 3 treasure, and we get treasure map. So that is an instant take, and have to decide if I want to cut the spinning wheel yet. I think I'm going to hang onto the spinning wheel and toss the shepherd sling. This does kind of put us in an awkward position where the Good Witch is now pumping itself. but it does mean that we are making our way towards a tier 7 treasure, and there's a few that would be quite good, but the best of those is going to be Mirror Mirror. I would say that's followed by Magic Sword, because Magic Sword on Good Boy is quite good, and then that is followed by, or maybe even preceded by Holy Grail. Holy Grail also quite good. Trying to think of what other things might be strong here. Going to Frontline, my small Sherwood Shore Shot, because that is what is going to be getting the Robin Wood buff, and then we'll be able to kill some things with that and hopefully get some triggers onto it. My opponent only has this one evil unit in the front row, so that bounty is going to go to the Frog Prince, and then Prince Arthur is going to take out the Sporko, but that is going to be a pretty easy combat for us. Only hitting Geppetto for 10, and Geppetto is at 6.0, but I think that we're still in a really good spot. Finally get to pick up a Romeo now too, which that adds a considerable amount of power to the board, and then we get to pick up Princess Peep and grab a tier 7 treasure. So really, really strong stuff. I already said Mirror Mirror, I'm pretty sure is going to be the best one, just because it is going to trigger our Court Wizard so many times. And I did touch on this a little bit, but this is the pumpkin patch, where the Great Pumpkin King was a tier 5 unit. So that does mean, oh, and you can see it right there in the shop. You can also see Bossy, both of which are now no longer tier 5 units. But that does mean that there's a lot of evil units abound, and that just makes the Great Book of Heroes even better. Sometimes I call it Good Book or Great Book, but it is indeed called Book of Heroes. So now that I've tripled this Princess Peep and this, well, I guess I could potentially, interesting there to sell the Robin Wood. But basically, I think that getting Burning Palm on Court Wizard, getting that started, is just going to be really, really good for us, and definitely what I want to do. I could see playing an additional Sherwood Sure Shot down the line, potentially, so I am going to hang on to that Sherwood Sure Shot. There's a few instances where it gets decently powerful, so we'll see if any of those things come to light in the future. But you can see my opponent here with a bunch of evil units, so my Court Wizards are going to start to grow already. This opponent with a Sark Mimic, so a lot of decent stats for them, but we are getting to grow our Court Wizards pretty incredibly, and we're getting +4 health each time our Court Wizards get a Slay, so that is actually getting us some reasonable stats to play around this Sark Mimic chest. It's going to be close though. This is going to wind up being a pretty close battle because, yeah, they do just get so many hits off with this Sark. And unfortunately, the Sark kills the Sherwood Sure Shot twice, which denies me some bonus attacks and means that we don't get to just get bonus attacks with our Court Wizard. But we still get to tie this combat. Cannot say that that is too bad for us. And feeling pretty good, ultimately, do have to say. So now we'll take Juliet. Would love to triple that so that it can start getting bonuses from Prince Arthur. Spinning Wheel will be our next treasure to cut if we are able to triple that Juliet. Tripling Court Wizard is pretty interesting. It's not a slam dunk because we now have less Court Wizards, but it does mean that we could find more Court Wizards in the future, and that is going to be the plan here, or the hope, that we can still find more Court Wizards and add more power to the board in that way, because, and then we do. So we will be putting that Court Wizard in, and then probably just go for a Shrivel here, because we've got 2 gold, and it costs 2 gold. It's hard to tell how powerful Merlin is, but they are tier 6, so probably want to respect them a little bit. And there's a few good tier 6 units to Shrivel as well, but hopefully with 2 Court Wizards we are looking kind of strong here, but one really big Court Wizard, and we're hoping that that can carry us. Let's see what Merlin's got. DBJ is Merlin. They've got a bunch of trees, and our Shrivel does not help us. Their Shrivel does help them, though. Takes out our second Court Wizard, which is kind of annoying, but our Court Wizard's big enough to clear these evil units, so our Court Wizard is going to grow even more, and hopefully we can, just continue to attack with that. Mirror, mirror, all of that is pretty strong. Once we take out their front line, it actually looks as if their back line is not anything super incredible, and our Court Wizard really just gets to go to work this game, so that is pretty sweet as well. We'll get one more bonus attack with the Court Wizard, and then our Sure Shot will just pokes on. Oh, actually, Juliet gets in. That's right. And then this gives us a bonus attack there. But Court Wizard Prime up to 4268 untouched. Imagine if we had an Easter egg for all of this time, too, because we're still at 35 health. We've tied some combats, right? But we've not lost a combat since, the second or third turn of the game, or at least very early. Good Boy is going to be very good for us, especially finding a good boy very early. Good Boy just works really, really well with Mirror Mirror. We'll probably now not be playing Arthur or not be playing the Frog Prince. Arthur's only pumping one of our units here, so it doesn't seem super fantastic, but Good Boy is really fantastic with Mirror Mirror because it still gets to pump itself. Even though it says other, it still gets to pump itself now. So we'll combine this Juliet and look for a new tier 4 treasure. Sky Castle's pretty good, but I don't know. I go for Moonsong Horn here because it's going to give me stats on Good Boy, which are really the stats that I care about. And it's also going to make my spells just a little bit cheaper to put more stats on Good Boy. I don't really think I need to just give these other units +4/+4, because giving Good Boy +1/+1 is actually giving everything else +3/+3. So that's just as good. And then everything else gets +1/+1 from the horn. So yeah, it's actually just the same amount of stats on everything else, assuming that my first two Good Boys die at the start of combat. Here we go. Mirror Mirror summoning some stuff before our Court Wizards get to attack in our Court Wizard Beta, or, I guess we'll call them Court Wizard Alpha and Beta. But Court Wizard Beta is going to get some triggers. The other one's going to be one short, so Daddy Alpha shows him how to finish the job, and not going to be a problem here in terms of winning this fight. Hit my opponent for 12. But Court Wizard only grows up to a 7/7. Still, I think that that's pretty good. And this is a really interesting option here. With Mirror Mirror, is my camera good? Cool. With Mirror Mirror, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world to have an evil Good Boy. There are still a lot of strong things that does, and I do think casting Evil Twin on Good Boy here is the right call. It could potentially allow us to triple it, at which point we'd probably cut the Good Book. I think we've gained enough scaling. We just want some additional stats on the Good Boy. And after we are through with this shop lag, we'll see a Merlin's Test, which we can't cast because we already cast that Evil Twin. And then I will have to rearrange some of the units in my shop. The lag kind of messed us up there, but these Good Boys are going to be really, really good with the Mirror Mirror. The first Good Boy will die. It'll respawn a 1/1, which then gets +1 from the Horn, and then +3 from the Good Boy. And then if that dies, that can give some additional stats to the second Good Boy, which can then potentially even get to a point where it's slaying with Book of Heroes and gaining even more stats. So that could all be really, really great for us. Juliet is going to go down to start the fight off, and our Court Wizards are going to get to a little bit of work here. Good Boy respawns as a 2/2, then a 5/5, like I said, and the second Good Boy that comes back is actually not small enough to die. It's big enough that it gets a slay, and then our other Good Boy winds up dying because the other Good Boy never died. So we attack into Rotten Applewood. That's going to be able to steal a little bit of stats from us, but we get them back rather quickly with both the Good Book and our Good Boys. So that is going to just be a bunch of stats for us. My opponent cracks their first pumpkin, and they do get a Monster Book, but not too much else other than that. A Monster Book's going to kill Good Boy, so that's still a ton of stats for us. Romeo resummons Juliet because it's the mirrored universe Juliet that we've got in play. I'm thinking of like Us now as well. I guess that's not really what Mirror Mirror is playing on, but it definitely just reminded me of that. Yeah, then we just have to attack into this Medusa, and it is smooth sailing. We're going to get some additional scaling from this wolf in sheep's clothing, and my opponent's backline wolf in sheep's clothing as well. And you can see the siren attacks into our court wizard, and it survives at 4 health, which is exactly 1 good book trigger. And that is actually the end of the game. The horror dragon died to the ghost, so that's the video. And I think that maybe the end didn't seem so spectacular. It seemed like, wait, we didn't even get a chance to like put our full comp together. But I mean, hey, 2 good boys, still pretty strong. But it seemed like that game was over pretty quick, and I think the reason for that is because it was, and that is because we were able to beat up so much of the lobby for so much of the game. We bought that sure shot on turn 1, and we were scaling with it ever since, and just putting a ton of stats on our team the whole time, and really doing some good work. So that is going to be it for us today. Thank you very much for watching. I'm NoLucksGiven. Peace. Also, small programming note, I now upload my videos at 9 p.m. and 9 a.m. EST. The 9 a.m. upload is typically Twitch, a Twitch video kind of cut up, and then the 9 p.m. video is videos like this with me with the post commentary. So hopefully you guys are enjoying that, trying to break it up so no matter what time of the day you load up the channel or load up YouTube, there should be a new-ish video for you, but new Storybook Brawl videos every 12 hours now. So that is going to be it for me. Have a good one. Bye.